Good evening and welcome to this special Vote 2014 edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Tonight's show is a debate sponsored by Clean Elections. We'll hear from candidates looking to lead our state as the next governor. As with all of Arizona Horizon's debates, this is not a formal exercise. It's an open exchange of ideas, an opportunity for give and take between candidates for the state's top office. As such, interjections, even interruptions, are allowed, provided that all sides get a fair shake, and we'll do our best to see that that happens. 4 candidates are competing to be Arizona's chief executive. They are, in alphabetical order, Republican State Treasurer and businessman Doug Ducey, Fred Duval, who has served on the Board of Regents and in the Clinton administration, Libertarian Barry Hess, a businessman, and Americans-elect candidate John Mueller, also a businessman. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening and closing statements. Earlier, we drew numbers to see who goes first, and that honor goes to Fred Duval.
Thank you. Good evening. I love Arizona. I grew up here. My family's, Jennifer and I are raising our children here, and we love this place. But I'm running for governor because we're worried. We're worried that Arizona is headed in the wrong direction, and our children are losing out. The deep cuts in education have been too severe, and we're losing jobs, and we're losing opportunity. And so let me make a clear promise, a clear statement. I will stop the cuts to public education. Full stop. I will use the veto if necessary. But no more cuts. Not another dollar, not another penny. Now the voters have a choice. The Supreme Court has recently made a decision that the voters instructed the legislature to invest in our children's schools. I believe we should enforce this decision immediately and reinvest in our children's schools. Doug and other candidates disagree with this. I think the most important thing we can do to grow our economy and turn our economy around is to invest in our children's schools and the opportunities of the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And for the next opening statement, we turn to John Mueller.
Hello, I'm John Mueller. I'm an independent constitutionalist. I happen to make ballot access through Americans Elect, which was an abandoned ballot. And, well, here's my opportunity. I agree with Fred here about the education being in need of some heavy repair. The only thing is that I detail a way to pay for this. Budget cuts are one way, but I don't believe in that. We need to increase revenue. I have the industrial connections to do so. And I truly believe that Arizona needs to run Arizona, no longer special interest groups out of DC, which unfortunately happen to be both parties. As I said, I'm the independent, and I would like to serve you as governor.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we turn to Doug Ducey.
Thank you, Ted. My name is Doug Ducey, and I want to be your next governor. My wife, Angela, and I have been married 24 years this October, and we have 3 sons, Jack, Joe, and Sam. I'm running on my real-world experience as a small business owner of Cold Stone Creamery, a chief executive officer, and your current state treasurer, managing over $12.5 billion of Arizona state tax assets. I'll have a very clear agenda as your next governor. I want to kickstart the economy so there are more jobs for hardworking Arizonans that turn into fulfilling careers. I want to restore our educational system to the level of excellence we expect to better serve teachers, students, and parents. And I want to take charge of the direction of our state. I want to be an independent voice for the state of Arizona, and I'm proud to announce tonight that I've been endorsed by Democratic state legislator Catherine Miranda. You can tell a lot about how someone will govern by how they campaign. I've reached out to Catherine. She's joined our campaign. I'm running to be governor of all the people.
All right, thank you very much. Final opening statement now. We turn to Barry Hess.
Hi, I'm Barry Hess, and as you can already tell, I can't tell you I'm no Nostradamus, but I can tell you what's going to happen. We'll have the Democrat telling you that he knows how to spend your money, raise and educate your children, and control your personal life better than you can. The Republican is going to be a little different. He's going to tell you he knows how to spend your money, raise and educate your children, and how to run your life better than the Democrat. But I'm a libertarian, and I have to tell you, I believe these things are only things that you can do. I do not agree that we have to continue funding an excessively bloated education program. We're not getting our money's worth, and more money is not the answer. Otherwise, Washington, D.C., that spends twice the money we do, wouldn't be elbowing us out, Arizona out, of last place in the state. I think that you're going to see a whole lot of differences between us, but mine's always going to be focused on the rights of the individual and protecting you. That's why I want to be your governor.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's get the debate started here, the discussion started here. Fred, how are you going to balance the budget with these inflation-adjusted education funds, provided the courts say you got to pay for them? How are you going to pay for them?
Well, first, let's be clear. The court has said this. The Supreme Court has ruled and has said the voters were quite clear in their intent that we needed to pay back this money. The first place to start is the rainy day fund, which essentially has been built on the backs of cuts from our schools. So we need to use the rainy day fund to begin the process of a multi-year commitment. Then we need to go through a variety of other steps to make sure that we can make state government more efficient. I think procurement reform offers many possibilities. State trust land offers many possibilities. But we must establish our priorities. And my absolute priority is no more cuts. We have cut education severely in Arizona. We see the largest class sizes. We see record levels of teacher flight from our state. And these are all a result of this sustained cutting of education and balancing the budget on the backs of education. That has to stop.
How do we pay for it? $300 some odd million every year. We're not talking about the $1.6 billion in back payments. How are we going to pay for that?
Well, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we're spending the money in the proper places. I want to see our dollars in K-12 education go to teachers in the classrooms. I want it to go to funding what works, and I want us to focus on literacy that can make the biggest difference in the state of Arizona. The state has $1.7 billion cash today, Ted, and $454 million in a reserve account earning interest. I'm going to balance the budget one fiscal year at a time. We can see what can happen over the next year. Let's make sure we're properly spending these dollars so we're best serving our children, our teachers, and the parents of Arizona.
But that money is going to have to be accounted for somehow. How are you going to balance the budget?
Well, we're going to have to look at everything that's going on in the budget. I've talked about the 80 different state agencies. I mean, I'm a business person, so I want to go through the budget line by line and dollar by dollar. We also have 27% of the state's workforce outside of education that's eligible for retirement in the next 4 years. So you don't have to let one person go, but through disciplined hiring and the use of technology, you can really find savings and efficiencies, and that's what I'll do as governor.
All right, John, 300 some odd million next year. Every year after that, we're not talking about 1.6 billion in back payments. How are you going to balance the budget?
Well, I believe with the industry kick that I can bring the state and the method, it's all detailed in a book that I have on my website. I detail how we can take the state trust funds, trust land, and break it down to taxable property with some of the industries that want to move into the state. These industries that have been knocking on our door for at least 25 years, because I've been involved trying to bring them into the state. We need to bring them in, and we need to allow that taxable property to be taxed and use that with the schools.
What do you think, Barry?
Well, I think if we have a surplus, as Doug says, we can just pay it off now. I mean, doesn't that make sense? But actually, my plan calls for using the rainy day fund and reclaiming some of the lands that the feds have taken from us and selling it for the purpose of education like it's supposed to be. But most importantly, what I'll be striving for is asking the voters to repeal the mandatory spending, because it's not about money. We've already seen that. We've got to cut the spending because the education budget now absorbs almost 50% of our budget. It's ridiculous. I'd like to see it at about 20%.
Ted, can I go back to this? And I obviously a debate, so we should mix it up a little bit. I want to talk about the two ideas that Doug has put on the table. The first is the notion that we can capture hundreds of billions of dollars in reorganization of state government. I was part of Governor Babbitt's staff when we created DES, and it was the effort to do just that, to collapse agencies. We lost Children Protective Services in the process. Sometimes these agencies stand independently so that you have accountability. I don't want to see those kinds of loss of accountability again. And secondly, the notion that we're not going to fill state positions as they become open is a foolish risk. I mean, are we not going to replace DPS officers on the border? Are we not going to replace children welfare services when people retire? Are we not going to replace corrections officers when they retire? That's a very dangerous idea.
The notion that we wouldn't put children first or public safety first is just a distortion of what I'm talking about. 80 separate agencies representing over $1 billion in annual spending. And anybody that doesn't think that government can't tighten its belt a bit and we can't do better in some of these bloated bureaucracies. So I think we need to review everything that we're doing and look at the core functions. That's why I talk about our education system, kickstarting our economy, and moving Arizona in the right direction. We can do a whole lot better than we're doing today, Ted.
The current governor pushed for a temporary sales tax hike when she thought it was necessary, and the voters said, okay, that one time. would you push for a temporary tax hike of any kind if this education funding became a burden?
I will not raise taxes, and we will fund K-12 education. And we can do this. I'm looking at this budget at the next fiscal year. We have the dollars available, but I'll tell you what we have to do, Ted. We have to start our economy. We need to get it moving in the right direction. There's only one candidate at the table that's been endorsed by the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and the National Federation of Independent Businesses. These are business and job creators, large and small. The way to grow our economy is to reform our tax code and simplify it, to lighten regulation, and to make burdens less on the small business owner.
Make sense to you?
Look, I think you've got to be honest with voters about the choices. And Doug is proposing that we take the income tax to zero. It is 40% of the state budget. It means cuts to K-12.
That's not accurate, Fred.
Medicaid is voter protected. And so if you want to seek a zero to income tax, you are going to cut K-12 education. I don't think you're being
Fred,
candid
but
about
that's
it.
not accurate. I have been candid. I said I would like to improve our tax code. I think we should have a tax code that looks like somebody wrote it on purpose. I think we should simplify our tax code, flatten it, make it more fair. My opinion is it's the viewers' money. They earned it. I want them to keep more of it. We can go in a better direction with our tax code, but it's going to take time. I've said it's going to take a term or two as governor. It's going to take a growing economy, and it's going to take a more effective government. Fred, you've proposed $4 billion in additional spending, and you say that you won't raise taxes.
Stop it,
so
Doug.
please tell me how that works.
That's a ridiculous notion. What I'm saying is we should enforce the Supreme Court decision, which has said the voters had it right. The voters are clear in their intention.
$320 million.
That we pay back these schools for the cuts that we took. You want to appeal it. You want to defy the order.
Because
you are looking for every opportunity not to invest in public
That's
education.
true. I want to do it
You
responsibly.
opposed. The question started with the half-cent sales tax. You opposed it.
Yes.
Those would have all been more cuts to our schools.
I'm not for
They would-
tax increases.
They would have all been more cuts to our schools. Every opportunity
Not
you've
true.
had to make the commitment to education, you've been on the other side.
I have sat on the board for Teach for America. I've sat on the state charter school board, a
Wait,
trustee
wait.
at Arizona State University. I have a commitment to education. I want to spend the dollars responsibly and get them to the classroom supporting the teacher, not just blow more money into these
Barry,
bureaucracies.
please.
Yeah, enough. Ouch, quit it stuff. Good Lord.
It's a spirited debate.
No, what we've got to talk about is redefining education in Arizona. We're last in the nation, and our nation is down there in the world, like 39th or 41st. We used to be number one. And I think a lot of it has been they've gotten us away from the competitive schools. That's the whole way that innovation and imagination comes into play. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Common Core at some point. But when you're talking about funding it, it's really not about the money. It's about restructuring it. I mean, I know that when we had lots of money going into the schools because of Jan Brewer, we saw tuitions at college going up incredibly. How did that translate to the students? I think a more ubiquitous kind of education is a lot smarter. MIT started it, you can't argue with them, and it's distance learning, where they're showing that through distance learning you can get a far better education than the brick and mortar counterparts without the spreading of disease, without the spreading of bad behavior, without the logistics of security and all the other stuff that comes with these government schools.
John, the idea, I know you've got business connections here, but
jump in.
you better have a lot of connections to make up for hundreds of millions of dollars year after year.
Actually, I do. I have an omnibus plan, which is a plan that I created, and I believe that will take people with the dream of a business or the dream of growing their existing business and put them into the 5-year plan of where they can go public if they'd like to and retire, become CEOs, pull in $1 million a year paycheck. I believe my plan is that solid and that good. As far as the industries, the hemp industry, we need to legalize hemp. That is not a smokable plant, but it is a product that will replace everything from rubber to fiberglass to create biofuels. And that's huge. That's an industry well into the trillions of dollars.
You think, what about Colorado and Washington? You think the idea of perhaps putting a tax on marijuana itself?
Yeah, that's legalizing cannabis.
Right.
We should do that as well.
think that's a good idea
We
as well?
should go ahead, legalize, tax it as we do alcohol.
Doug, the Arizona poverty rate is higher than the national average, and the gap is growing. We're going in the wrong direction. The national average seems to be dropping. Our poverty gap, our poverty rate seems to be increasing. Our job recovery is not what the national average is. it's improving. What's going on out there?
Well, these issues should weigh on all of us, and we want to point out who these people are. I mean, these are our seniors, these are our single mothers, these are our children, and it's unacceptable. And my commitment is to serve all Arizonans so that we can have a better future. And the way to do this is have an economy that's growing. I want people to imagine an Arizona where our existing businesses are growing and hanging out help wanted signs, and where companies out of state look to Arizona as the perfect place in which to do business. I'm tired of politicians talking about job creations rhetorically. This is something leaders do. I want to go to California and bring businesses here. We're already Chicago's favorite suburb. People are leaving Chicago. The businesses are going to Indiana, Florida, and Texas. Let's bring them to Arizona. That's going to be how we get the economy going in the right direction and lift people out of poverty.
What do you think is the reason that the poverty rate here is higher than the national average and the job recovery rate is lower than the national
It is
average?
lower. We're now a full point above the national average in unemployment. The poverty rates are going down in the rest of the country. They're going up in Arizona. That's why I started by saying we are headed in the wrong direction. Our economy is not recovering the way we need it to. And increasingly, what I hear from businesses looking to relocate around the country is they look at the tax rate and they think Arizona's made a lot of progress. They look at the regulatory environment and they say Arizona's not bad. Then they get to the core question: will my employees have the talent I need to be successful? Will my children and my employees' children have good schools to go to? We have to be able to answer that question in the affirmative. We have to show them a commitment to our schools. And these cuts that have resulted in, today there are 500 classrooms with no permanent teacher. Largest class sizes, as I said, in the United States. We are not making the kind of assurances that the business needs to see from us.
You have talked about tax cuts repeatedly. I'm sure you're aware of what's happening in Kansas. They talked about tax cuts. They implemented tax cuts. Their growth is zero. They've got a budget deficit that's about as high as it is in the nation. They got schools closing and classes closing and teachers bailing out. Is that what we want for Arizona?
Well, that's Kansas. Let's talk about Arizona. Let's talk about Texas. Let's talk about Florida. Let's talk about comparable states where people are already moving to. We know how to educate a child in this state. We have 3 of the top 10 high schools in the country. More than any other state in the nation, no other state has that bragging right. We're spending $10 billion to educate just over 1 million school children. And in many places, we know how to do it well. But for the last decade, Ted, there has been a decreasing percentage of resources going to the classroom to support our teachers. That's going in the wrong direction. I want to see every available dollar in education supporting teachers teaching and students learning. That's where you make the difference.
Can you compare Arizona with Texas, Florida, or Kansas when it comes to low or zero income taxes?
Well, my plan calls for eliminating the income tax and personal property tax on the moral basis. You can't authorize government to steal, and theft is still theft, even by government, even if they come with a gun and even if they say it's for the children. So how do we raise the money? I've moved it to a transaction tax to be capped at 9.9% on retail, combined with a single tax on businesses, a corporate tax of 4% on the gross, no deductions. That will create the environment to bring the jobs here and the money here. We can't have politicians going and picking and choosing who they're going to go out and visit and try to get them to come here. We've got to create an atmosphere where we're very business friendly and open and honest and above board. I think that would be very important. Along with that, we have to fund our education, of course, but I think we've gone overboard on our education trying to teach all of our students everything about every job, when in fact we should narrow that focus to be able to learn, the skills to learn so that they master those and allow the corporations to come in and then further the education for what they specifically need. It makes better sense to pinpoint the education at that point than trying to teach everyone everything in a government school, and it's not going to work.
Some would argue that comparing Arizona to Texas is apples to oranges. Texas has the oil and gas industry propping it up. You have property taxes that are different as well. Can you compare Arizona to Texas and Florida when you got Kansas sitting out there like a sore thumb?
I don't think any of them compare, period. They're all different states. They all have different geographical, differences. The states don't compare, period. Students do not compare. The tax codes can't compare because they have different needs, different wants. I detail very clearly how we can take someone such as anyone at the table here that wants to create their own job. Cold Stone, before it was Gold Stone, you needed funding. I detail exactly where that funding comes from. I'm sorry, I don't know what you did in the private industry, or private life, I'm sorry. Water company? Yes. I detail exactly where that money will come from to create that water company and take you to being a global company if you want.
Well, I think it's more important to get government out of the way. I mean, we saw in California 2 weeks ago where they repealed one law against vending and created 1,000 businesses in 3 days. That's how government creates businesses, is by getting out of its way and allowing us.
And I think Kansas is a warning sign as to avoid a race to the bottom and their complete collapse in the bond markets. They are getting new ratings. They are disinvesting in their schools. Employers are very concerned that they will not have the workforce that they need. The schools have taken massive cuts. This is not the road we want to go on. We want to stop the cuts and get back to investing in our children's future.
The big spenders want to take 1 year and become an alarmist. There's 9 states in this country that have a better, more preferable tax code that we have. Not only are we comparable to places like Texas and Florida and Wyoming and New Hampshire, we're competitive. States compete and governors compete. These companies that are leaving California and leaving Illinois are looking for a place to go. We have a quality of life here. This is a great place to live, work, play, recreate, retire, visit, and in many places get an education. We have to stop the blame Arizona first mentality. As governor, I'll sell our state, I'll talk to leaders, business owners, and influencers, and we'll drive our economy in the right direction.
I hear what you're saying, and yet I keep hearing California is just the devil on the West Coast here as far as business and economics are concerned. They're always at the top of job creation. They are always at the top of wages. Companies are moving to California to benefit from a variety of things that it seems like in Arizona we're still debating on, things like education and such. How do you square that?
Well, California is driving people and producers out, Ted. This is not a well-run state. This has been the largest growth in our state, has been net migration from California and Illinois to the state of Arizona. Now, it is a beautiful state and there's been incredible innovation, but they're doing everything they can to kill the golden goose there. It may not be good for the country, but for the next decade, until they straighten their direction out, the governor of Arizona should take full advantage of it. I just visited a company last week that had moved here from California. They couldn't take the tax burden or the quality of life. It's a rat race.
But how do you explain the fact that California still leads in job creation and all these other metrics, and we don't?
They have an innovation-based economy. They invested in their universities. Those are gifts that keep giving because they are going after 21st century innovation-based jobs. San Diego, obviously, in biotech and biohealth, Silicon Valley in IT, et cetera. And that's the connection. We need to commit to investing in education. And the idea that we can be a Texas or a Nevada, they have gaming taxes, they have oil taxes. They simply capture their revenue someplace else. And I don't know whether Doug's proposing a property tax, which is where probably the pressure would go to the school districts, or a sales tax. But if you are going to repeal 40% of the state's revenue, you either cut K-12 education, which is, I believe, what he plans to do, or you're going to raise taxes someplace else.
That's a distortion of my record, but now we do have a clear choice. We know that Fred's model state is California. My model state is Texas. I'll take the path of Rick Perry. You can take the path of Jerry Brown. Rick Perry retires in November of 2014. Texas has led the nation in economic development, job creation, and business relocation. I want to be your next governor in November of 2014.
Doug,
I believe Arizona can lead the way in that direction.
I did not say that we should follow California. What I said is that investing in education is something
Like
that works. It has worked across the country. It is time for us to make sure that our children have the skills to succeed in life. And your proposal to cut education will leave us...
I did not propose, Fred,
Of course you are.
I did not propose to... I am saying that I would settle this lawsuit, but I want to see these dollars go into the classroom. I want to see them fund what... Well, I have no power to settle the lawsuit.
But you would be all right if the lawsuit were settled?
Oh, I would much rather pay teachers than pay lawyers. So yes, but the baseline on the lawsuit is important. We have scarce scarce funds, and I want to make sure we can be responsible going forward. So I would sit down, and this is a hypothetical, Ted, which is dangerous in these debates, but I would like to settle this and put the appropriate amount of money into K-12 education. But any chief executive would ask, where are these dollars being spent, and how do we best serve our teachers and our children?
So will
You-
you take the settlement? Did you
I
just
would-
say that you will take the settlement? It's
No,
on
I
the
said
table.
I would settle the lawsuit. I want to negotiate the baseline. The baseline is important.
The offer's on the table. Would you
It's
take
$80 million to $320 million. I would sit
plaintiffs-
down,
The
and
plaintiffs
I'm
have made an
open-minded.
offer. The plaintiffs have made the offer. Would you take it?
I'm open-minded to settlement. I want to see us have a smaller baseline to protect our budget going forward. Fred, you have $4 billion in additional
That's
spending.
Doug, stop it.
I want-
Stop it.
okay,
That's just
well,
made up. That's
then
just tooth fairy math. I mean, that's
If that's
nonsense.
Fred, if that's tooth fairy math, at least at my house, the tooth fairy delivers a buck or two under my son's pillows. At your house, they leave an IOU because there won't be any money left with the amount of spending that you have in front as you want to accept the offers.
My 6-year-old lost his tooth last week, and I assure you, he got his buck. And
But now you just told them tooth fairy is not real.
Yeah, really. We
Bad
want to be
place
real
to learn.
careful about looking at California for job creation because the jobs they create are very short-termed. They just get a lot of them because of more legislation. That's what's making that whole circus go round. They're not long-term, high-paying jobs that are going
But
to
the
California.
circus is going round,
It is
as
going
opposed
round.
to standing outside with a ticket in your hand waiting to get into the circus. I mean,
But it
what is-
requires higher and higher taxes and more legislation.
well,
and
is that an option?
not with me. It's
Not with you? What about you, John?
No, and if you're picking states, I'm picking Arizona. And I believe Arizona would be successful if we did not have party politics getting in the way. Someone with a good idea should not need to bribe a Republican or bribe a Democrat just to get a vote to make something good happen for our state. And for the past 102 years, that's all we've had. And that's why we're at the rock bottom.
Well, John is right. I mean, we've seen the border issue ever since I got here in 1980. The border issue has been exactly the same. Not a Republican and not a Democrat has moved to correct anything or change anything. But the same is true of our education system as we saw it sliding down. We've got to really step back and take an intelligent look at reshaping our government and how it interacts with the people. I think that's really critical.
With the way everyone's talking, I'm amazed anyone lives in the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
I think this is a great state. I ask in every room who was born somewhere other than the state of Arizona. It seems like 70 or 80% of the hands go up. That's the market speaking. People are moving here. We need to bring businesses here. We need to maximize the population growth into economic development, job creation, and win more companies coming here, Ted. And it's very doable. And a chief executive who will be a leader and be accountable for this can make it happen.
Let's
But
talk.
can a
let's-
chief executive get government out of the way so that businesses can come in? That's
Yeah,
what we need.
yeah,
We don't try to
Real quickly here,
micro.
we hear a lot about this, getting government out of the way,
Absolutely.
conservative principles, cutting income taxes, getting corporate tax credits, these sorts of things. The Republicans have been in power for quite a while now at the Capitol. We've seen these things going through. When are we going to get that Arizona turnaround?
When you get a libertarian governor who will break the tie in this gridlock and take some sensible action based on the ideas, not the party. I'm literally the only one in the race who can walk the aisle without fear of political repercussion or reprisal. And I've brought all the groups together just last year in a historic moment, over 35 years and 35 tries in putting forward a citizens' referendum on some of the most egregious laws that had ever been devised, trying to steal the elections. We turned it back on them and made them eat it. And I think that's important because it took everyone from the super liberals to the super conservatives. And I was the only one who could bring that together and make it sure as an architect of it.
Please.
I'm the other guy, the one that has no ties, who doesn't care about a political life. I'm the guy who can come in that already has the plans written down. I know I'm beyond a long shot. Let's just say I'm not elected. Okay. Will everyone here agree to at least hear me out on this omnibus plan? Because it is the only thing that's going to save Arizona right now. Legalizing hemp would be a great plus, but the omnibus plan take us from zero to hero.
Fred, I want to get back to what Doug was talking about regarding people just bad-mouthing Arizona, a negative image of Arizona. What is Arizona's image around the country? Because we are the butt of jokes on some programs, and yet people keep moving here.
Well, I've written 2 books about Arizona. I love Arizona. I'm passionate about it. I'm hiking it. I love every part of Arizona. And we have an opportunity to remind the rest of the country how innovative we are, how much we're a startup economy, what a great environment this is to start businesses and to grow. But we have to answer this question about our investment in public education if we're going to get the kind of job growth that we've had in the past and that we want in the future.
Do you think Arizona has an image of intolerance?
No, I do not. I think we have some very real issues in the state of Arizona, but I think whenever you have a state where so many people have moved here from all across the country, you have a place that's warm and welcoming and optimistic where good things can happen. But there have been some folks that have communicated some issues that I would do differently, and that's what I talk about when I say I want to take charge of the direction of our state. There's only one candidate at the table that has built a brand that's known and loved around the country and now the world. I think of Arizona in very many ways as a blank slate. This is a great place in so many ways. I want to communicate that out.
So you think there's no reason to attempt to repair Arizona's image? There's nothing to repair, you're saying?
Well, I think we have to go forward. I think we've been here before, Ted. We were here in 1995 when someone was saying things and striking down Martin Luther King Day. I would actually say it was worse. It wasn't that we didn't get the Super Bowl. The NFL took the Super Bowl away. We're going to have a January where the eyes of the world are going to be focused on our state. There's nothing like a new governor to set a new tone and a new direction.
And Ted, I think 1062 did do some damage to our reputation. Thank goodness the governor got it right in the end. I wish he had moved more quickly. And the notion that Doug has advanced that we could somehow renegotiate a 1062, these kinds of things are culturally divisive. They're bad for describing who we are in Arizona. We're a tolerant place. We need to celebrate our diversity, grow with our diversity, and make sure that that we are communicating a place where talent, no matter who they are and where they come from, can come and succeed in Arizona.
Would you look again at a 1062 if you were governor?
Fred distorts my position. I said that I would veto that, but I said with any issue, I'm going to bring people to the table. I built the broadest coalition of anyone in this race. You heard when I kicked off tonight, I said that this is Democrat, sitting state legislator, Catherine Miranda, has joined my campaign. I'm reaching across the aisle to show that I'll do what's in the best interest of all Arizonans. My campaign's about opportunity for all. I'm running to be the governor of all the people, and you can tell a lot about how someone will govern by how they campaign, and that coalition is something that you want to continue to broaden. I said that I will listen to everyone, just like I've been listening to parents and teachers across the state.
I'd actually like to agree with Doug on this. My coalition includes hundreds of Republicans. I bought a full-page ad in the Republic recently. It included 20-some Republican elected officials with whom I've worked, particularly back working with Governor Babbitt, a Democratic governor with the Republican legislature. We built Access. We built the Phoenix Freeway system. We did the groundwater code. Some of the greatest bipartisan achievements in the state of Arizona. We were growing and succeeding in a bipartisan collaborative way, and I've carried that experience through my life, and as a result, I'm really a problem solver, and I can demonstrate my capacity to create collaboration with both
I can
parties.
see a problem with that just in saying bipartisan. That suggests two. There are more than two, and the arrogance is pervasive. I think that's ridiculous. But when you were talking, Ted, about the reputation of Arizona, I think most people separate our more colorful personalities from Arizona itself, because they hear from all of us. It's a great place. We've got great weather, other than yesterday and the day before.
Are businesses hearing that?
Businesses not so much, because they're not so excited about our diplomas, meaning virtually nothing. We have got to get kids who can learn. That's why I've said, let's go to a competency test. That would make more sense. It doesn't matter where you get your education. We don't care. We just want to make sure that you are educated, and you'd pinpoint your weak spots so that you could actually work on them without the whole blanket idea. I think that we've got to bring businesses here with the idea of saying, we're going to do something bold. We're going to do something different. We enjoy being Arizonans. And here's what we're going to offer to corporate America. You bring your own damn schools here and teach the kids what they need to know to work for you.
Your investment ideas, can they work if Arizona doesn't have a strong enough image that attracts business?
Yes, because they are to be based on Arizonans becoming the people they want to be. Not all of Arizona wants to sit around living on minimum wage or on welfare or whatever it might be. There are millions of people in Arizona that want to get to work, that want to create the jobs. We've got Dodd-Frank that now blocks anyone from investing in a business unless they have $2 million in the bank. We need to get beyond that. We need to work above, across, and just totally squash that horrible law.
Let's get to some immigration ideas here. The governor's executive order, no driver's licenses for the undocumented with deferred status. The idea being that the rule of law has to be applied at some point. Is that valid?
I think this was a mistake. 48 states allow Dreamers to drive. We should join the rest of the nation, and there's some important reasons why. These Dreamers are part of our community. They've been raised here. They've been successful here. They've served in the military or they're going to school. It is in our interest that they be all that they can be, that they contribute to our economy, that they be as successful in life as they can be. And it will be the first thing I do as governor is to repeal this prohibition. Secondly, it's important, for public safety reasons, it's important that they be insured and that for everybody's safety. But this has been a divisive way of treating members of our community, and it's bad policy, and I will change it.
Do you agree with the governor's decision?
Well, I think we need to step back and look at how we got here, the discussions around border security and immigration, and it really isn't just one party's fault. There's enough blame to go around here. This is the federal government that has not paid attention to its first duty to Arizona. I have agreed with the governor's decision because I am going to have respect and compassion for everyone, but I don't think anyone gets the privileges and benefits of hardworking Arizona families that are paid for by hardworking Arizona taxpayers. We're a nation of immigrants, and we're a nation of laws.
Critics say that it's a mean-spirited move and it's counterproductive. How do you respond?
I say to our federal government, what are you doing on our southern border? We have a state that has a wide open an unprotected border in the Tucson sector, and this has been going on for years. We have Border Patrol agents by the thousands that are in this state, but they're not inside our border counties. So I would like to see us be able to work not only with our county sheriffs, our law enforcement agents, so that we can address some of the very real issues that are happening in these states, and then we can deal with some of the other issues around immigration.
So not mean-spirited, not counterproductive.
I want to start with border security and then talk immigration.
Not mean-spirited, not counterproductive.
I've said it is counterproductive, it is mean-spirited, and it's bad economic policy. We want to make sure these Dreamers can fully contribute to our economic growth and our success. They are a part of our community, they're going to be part of our community, and it's really important that we give them the tools to succeed.
Real quickly, do you think that these Dreamers should be deported?
I've never said that.
No, I'm asking. No, I'm just asking.
Yes, no, I've said I'm for opportunity for all in our state, and that's the type of governor that I want to be. But I have talked about the priorities as to how I'd like to see this issue unfold.
So the rule of law, at some point, no deportation.
I've said let's start with border security.
Okay, Barry?
Well, I was going to say that I've had the opportunity to travel in a lot of countries and drive, and I took their tests and got their driver's licenses to, like Fred had said, so you can get insurance, for crying out loud. To do otherwise, people are still going to drive, except they're going to drive uninsured. That's a big issue these days. But it's not just the Dreamers either. It's anyone should be able to come here on a visitor's pass, and if they want to work, fine, and we can tag them with a 5% is what I've proposed for non-nationals working here to go into a fund to take care if they want education, if they want medical care, if they want whatever they want. Let them do that for access to our markets rather than impose upon the American taxpayers. And that's where the whole distinctions have to be made. Because government, unfortunately, it does not run like a business. It runs the opposite as a business. And that's what becomes very scary is you've got to know how to spend money. That's what you've got to know with government. With a business, you got to know how to make money.
Do you want to see government run like a business?
Government needs to be run like the government, but they need to protect the businesses. There's a difference. We can't run it like a business because there's no profit. The government cannot make a profit. We need to break even. We're not even doing that because we need those businesses to exist to pay in the taxes. And as I was stating before, the land or the property taxes for the businesses on property that is not normally taxed. We have millions of acres.
And again, the idea of running government like a business, does that sound palatable to you? Is it something that you think that government should look harder at?
There are elements of business that apply to government, but it is a different function. Government is in the business of public safety and creating a climate for private sector opportunity. But there's no question that you want to bring accountability metrics to government. I did that on the Board of Regents. I proposed an entirely new funding system that moved from an enrollment-based model to a productivity-based model, holding them more accountable for outputs, for graduations. Those kinds of accountability metrics that come from my business experience are applicable to state agencies.
And I ask the question because, as John mentioned, business is in the business of making a profit. Government is in the quote-unquote business of service. Can you really run a government like a business?
No, well, government is not a business. Businesses are intended to grow. Businesses are intended to make a profit.
Exactly.
But what you can do with a government is there are some business principles, like paying the proper attention to the people in which it serves, our hardworking taxpayers, on being accountable, on actually living within your means. You know, when you're in a business setting, a budget actually means something. In government, oftentimes it doesn't. So I think those business principles, meaning what you say, saying what you mean, paying attention, and serving, in this case, not the customer, but the taxpayers, I think are the best principles of government that you can add from the business community.
Let's go to dark money. Do Arizona voters deserve to know who's paying for the ads attacking you and attacking you? Do we deserve to know that?
Yes. I wish there was full disclosure of all the donors that were part of dark money. When I issued a dark money challenge to all of the candidates running, that please join me in calling out the dark money and saying, don't come here. We will conduct this campaign through the candidates' voices, not the dark money voices. Yet no one took me up on the offer, but this has become very corrosive to our ability to have an exchange of ideas between the candidates. It's been taken over by folks who are nameless and faceless, don't even live here, and don't even really know the candidates or what our issues are.
How do you find out those names and faces? It's Byzantine to trying to get through all these things.
They should be disclosed, and we should have state and federal laws that require the disclosure because they're not going away under the current Supreme Court protocols of the Citizens United decision. So the best we can do, get them disclosed and let them be a part of the public process.
What do you think, Doug?
I'd like to see more transparency as well. I think it's interesting that Fred says that, though, because Fred, you were the money man for the Democrat Governors Association, the same organization that is running these ads. You're the person that collected the money to buy these ads in your past career. So I'm just curious as to your position now.
Doug, you've had millions of dollars spent by the Republican Governors Association to attack me, millions of dollars. And before that in the primary, you did it with Christine Jones, you did it with Scott Smith. You've been succeeding in this process by tearing down your opponents. And I think you should just stop it. You should stop it. This is about creating an affirmative agenda for the state of Arizona.
I want people to judge me by what's coming out of my campaign. It's been a positive, optimistic, pro-job creation message. Fred, we're both playing by the same rules, but I'm new to politics. People know what I've done with my career. I've been selling ice cream. You've been peddling influence. You've been a lawyer and a lobbyist, and you've been the Democratic bagman for these ads in the past.
Doug, you know my background because it's completely open. It's completely open. Everything about what I've done in my life is public. You sold a business and it is a closed file, and you know that it is. And so I've got a question for you. What happened, Doug, what happened in that arbitration? What happened in that arbitration? I think the voters deserve to know whether or not you were accused of material misrepresentation. Were you accused of material representation?
Was the people that purchased Cold Stone Creamery said there was complete satisfaction that I built a great company and I would build a great brand. Fred, what you have not done.
You're calling about transparency, and everything about my background is public.
Would you disclose your list of clients as a lobbyist?
Sure.
Okay, can you tell us what your list of clients were?
Sure, you've known, Doug, they're on your TV ads. You've done a full opposition research. They're all on your TV ads, and I'd like to know what happened in that arbitration and whether or not you will answer the question, were you accused for holding material information?
From the people at the
you didn't
table,
answer
there
the
was
question.
complete satisfaction.
You did not answer my question.
Yes, I did, complete satisfaction.
More outquit it. I mean, come on now. But you know what we're looking at when we talk about dark money, we're talking about money that's not supposed to be coordinated with the campaigns. I would think that there would be a great penalty if any of these groups, because they have the right to expression, of course, if they did coordinate with them, it would disqualify the candidate, make it something serious. But even more so, there's dark money right out there in front of God and everybody, and it's like the two debates. that John and I were excluded from on Channel 10 and Channel 12. That is in-kind advertising for the Republicans and Democrats. That's all it is. That's as dark as it gets.
My question,
the rest of the money is shameless.
My question is, though, when it comes to some of these ads that are attacking right now these two gentlemen, shouldn't we be able to know who's behind the ads?
Sure.
We know who's behind the ads.
We do?
The Democrats and the Republicans.
Well, a
It's
little,
the parties.
a little
It's party
deeper, a
politics.
little deeper in the onion
A little
than that.
deeper, yeah. Well, we
looking
could
for
probably find out
Soros
the
or
individuals.
Coke and-
But the individuals are tied to Democrat and Republican parties. That's where all the trouble comes from. That's where it'll stay.
All right, let's move on. Access, expansion / restoration. Did Arizona do the right thing?
What I've said on this issue is the governor and the legislature have done what they've done. I've spoken out pretty aggressively against Obamacare and that I'm no fan of it. I think it's a rolling disaster and a monumental failure. But as our governor, what I want to focus on is our budget situation so that we're spending the proper dollars to restore K-12 education and to move our economy in the right direction. I'm not a big fan of any expansion of government. But what we have right now is a 3-year guarantee from our federal government. This is something that our next governor will have to look for ways to improve and reform. Some ideas I have for that are more price transparency and health savings accounts, and that's how I'm going to deal with it going forward.
So if the legislature passed some sort of repeal of this expansion restoration, what would you do? Hypothetical, but what would you do?
Well, it is a hypothetical.
But it's
And if
important.
you look at our budget, my first job is going to be protecting Arizona taxpayers. And because we do have the guarantee from the federal government, I think that we would not want to do that.
Okay, so you would not repeal it, at least not immediately for the next 3 years.
Where I think the opportunity that I would like to dive in on this is for reform, to have a better program. You know, everyone wants to have access to a superior healthcare system. I want to see that as well. I just don't think our federal government has done a good job in delivering
And
it.
I want real quickly, you said the governor and legislature did what they did.
Yes.
Is what they did a good thing?
I said I'm running on the issues of the future. I'm not a huge fan of the expansion of government. I would have wanted to tinker on the reform. Some of these states have gone for waivers, have gone for block grants, are innovative and inventive, but I do think our governor was not delivered. It was a very difficult decision. She was the leader in that case, and I've said what I've said.
What do you think? Is that a good enough answer for you?
It didn't answer the question, of course, as to how we would handle the repeal, which is certainly coming. This is a legislature that wants to repeal the restoration of Medicaid. The next governor is going to have to make a decision whether to repeal or not. Doug has had a variety of positions. He was silent on Medicaid, then he was against it. Now he's done. What's done is done. So it's a little unclear. I will be very clear. I've had one position on this through my life. I helped build Access in the 80s with Governor Rabbitt. It is a national best practice. Extremely proud of the bipartisan coalition that negotiated this out and took it to the Reagan White House and received the first waiver of the kind that enabled us to do this very successful model. The restoration was the right idea, and the bipartisan team of legislators and the governor that put it together were correct in doing so. To repeal it will devastate healthcare in rural Arizona. It will knock hundreds of thousands of Arizonans off the out of their health care. It would be a very harmful thing to do.
Well, you know, we've got an Access program here, which is second to none. You did a good job in
Thank you,
putting
Mayor.
it together. Everybody wants to get on Access, and unfortunately they are. That becomes a big problem because at $1,000 a month or more per person on it, it becomes a real burden to the taxpayers. I would like to see the taxpayers absorbing some of the risk of being alive like we used to. I think that would be smart. We do have to scale back Access. It is not a plus to say it's growing and expanding. It's like a welfare program. Oh, gee, now we've got 50,000 new people on it. That is an abysmal failure. As far as I'm concerned, we don't want people on the government dole or dependent on government because like we saw with the Access, the cards, the welfare cards too over in Maryland, they shut down for a weekend and drove people into a panic because now people were totally dependent upon government. I want to see in Arizona where we get back to that, this self-responsibility. We take care of ourselves and we encourage others to do that too, so that when the power goes out, we've got a battery pack on our house, that we don't go out. I think that kind of forward thinking is a smart idea. I want to make Arizona a fun place to live where we're innovative, not just trying to hold on to the past and see
Yes.
what we've got now.
John.
Yes, thanks. We can do better. Access has its problems right now. You know, they're cutting people off of access if, like my wife, they have cancer, and certain treatments are cut off right towards the end. That's where we're sitting. We can't deal with that type of a system. We can do better. I have a very, very detailed plan in my book that explains how we can get the best insurance for every Arizonan plus some, and add to the whole.
But
whole
is it
kit
about
with,
insurance
dental.
or health care? I think it should be health care. I saw this whole argument switch over to let's give everybody
healthcare
insurance.
insurance.
I want to revitalize the county hospital program so that people aren't dying in the street, but it's not government's responsibility to cover them for insurances, for crying out loud.
Doug, more people are insured right now because of the expansion. Uncompensated care at hospitals is getting to be a more tenable situation. Is that, again, a bad thing for Arizona?
Well, whenever we have more people that are protected, I think that is a good thing. My concern is what happens over the course of time. That's why I talk about a healthcare system that's actually putting the patient in charge of the doctor relationship rather than the employer and the insurance company. I think there's a lot of opportunity for improvement in American healthcare that comes from the government. I think we've got the best system in the world, but I don't think we have the best distribution system. What we've seen is really a redistribution of insurance benefits, and I think we can do better. There's many doctors, Ted, that are refusing to take access. Why do we want to put more people on an insurance program that many doctors don't want to accept? We can do better. That's the point.
Is this a penny wise, pound foolish kind of a thing? Good now, but watch out years later?
I think the circuit breaker is a good idea after the 3 years. I've worked with governors across the United States, and I'm very confident that the federal government will not walk away from its commitment. And the reimbursement rate in access is very, very high. If they do after 3 years, we've got the circuit breaker. But we've got a 90%. We have a 90% reimbursement rate on this. This is money, Arizona taxpayer money, which will go to other states or all the states around us that have taken the opportunity to do restoration, and we would be foolish to repeal it.
Ted, did Fred just say that he's very confident that the federal government will not walk away from its commitment?
We've got the circuit breaker, and I believe that we need to move forward and not repeal it, Doug.
Fred, I didn't say that. I just don't think that the federal government, they're here and they're here to help us, right?
No, I don't think they're here to help us. What I do believe is that the circuit breaker is the right tool, and we should not use the fear around this issue to not take advantage of this opportunity to stabilize our economy, to assure healthcare opportunities, and to do it at this kind of reimbursement rate.
Talking about tools, it makes more sense just to get government completely out of people's health care, because the estimates are running between 60 and 80% drop in all costs of health care, all aspects. 60 to 80% are the different things, and these are from people who do the HIPAA compliance and all that nonsense. But the whole point would be we'd be able to handle our own health care out of our hip pockets. I think that makes a whole lot more sense than devising these convoluted insurance programs.
We're running out of time here. We've got to get to closing statements. But very quickly, you talked about the federal government and amusing that they would keep their end of a bargain. How is Arizona supposed to work with things like immigration, for example, and other aspects in which a relationship with the federal government is important if we have an antagonistic toward the federal government?
Well, first, we'll have new leadership in the federal government in 2 years. And in the interim, I want to make the case for what we want to do here in the state of Arizona. And I'm willing to work with anyone. I think the endorsement that I announced tonight shows that I'll reach across the aisle. But I want to be the governor that brings the most innovative and inventive ideas. What I'd like to do is get our dollars back in this state so we can be in charge of many of these programs. So I will work with the federal government, but I'd like to be the governor of the state and take charge of the direction, not have it run out of Washington, D.C.
And very quickly, in working with the federal government, how do you become, we never even get to Common Core, which everyone, some folks, I believe, think is some sort of federal intrusion. How do you avoid that federal intrusion when you're trying to work with something like the federal government? How do you keep your own, stand up to your own?
You have to speak for Arizonans. And frequently, Washington, D.C. is out of touch, doesn't understand the West, doesn't understand Arizona. And Arizona's governor has important role to play in making sure that what is unique to Arizona, that they respect what is unique about Arizona, that we can chart our own destiny. It's who we are. We are pioneers, we are innovators, and we've got to have that kind of voice. But at the same time, we've got to have a functional relationship with the federal government to make it work.
All right, each candidate will now give a 1-minute closing statement, and going in reverse order of the opening remarks, we start with Barry Hess.
Well, I just want to say I hope that everybody has seen a good debate here and that you've gotten the ideas of our personalities and that you understand that this whole idea of growing government by both the Republicans and the Democrats is a poison cake. It might taste good now and they'll offer you another slice, but it's going to come back to haunt all of us. I want to ask everyone first to please go up to hessforgovernor.com and see complete issues where we've put them up there for people, and it's pretty serious. But when we're talking something, we got a little bit of a minute here on Common Core. You know, it's an idea that wants to homogenize all of education. That is what destroys education. What made us great was our innovation and our competition. When I was a kid, we used to be able to say, my school's better than your school, and we could back it up. With Common Core, the kids say, my school's just like yours. Please, don't let the future of Arizona rest on sameness and a lack of innovation. I ask for your vote.
All right, thank you very much. Doug Ducey now with his closing remarks.
My name's Doug Ducey, and I do want to be your next governor. It's been great joining you tonight for this debate. I'm running on the real-world experience as a businessman and a job creator. I've spent the last nearly 4 years managing $12.5 billion of your assets that by any measurement are in better condition and growing faster than they were just a short time ago. I've built the broadest coalition of any candidate, and I'll continue to reach out. You can tell a lot about how someone will govern by how they will campaign. I'm proud to have Catherine Miranda on my team, and I'm proud in a very spirited primary to have every one of my Republican opponents endorsing this campaign, unifying the party, and moving forward. I want to be an independent voice to kickstart our economy so the Arizonans that have been displaced by the downturn can find a job and a fulfilling career. I want to restore the greatness of our K-12 education system, and I want to take charge of the direction of our state. DougDucey.com, Doug Ducey on Facebook if you want more information. Thanks for having me tonight.
All right, thank you. And now for our next closing statement, we turn to John Mueller.
Hi, I'm John Mueller, jlmueller.com if you want to check out my website. I know everybody will introduce that as well. Not mine, but theirs. I believe Arizona needs to run Arizona. I don't believe the parties are acting in our best interest. They are all located in D.C., or at least the outlying areas. That's where the money's coming from, this dark money we keep hearing about. And I don't think there's really a debate. Is the money paying for the candidates now, or is it paying for the elected official later? It's kind of doing both, actually, but it will be paying definitely for the elected official. We've been in statehood for 102 years. It hasn't changed. D's play for D's and R's play for R's, and they leave us out. You know, Arizona is left out in the middle, and we need someone that can create jobs, that has a plan already on the table, someone that's willing to do what needs to be done and doesn't have a political future to worry about. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And Fred Duval now with his closing statement.
Thank you, Ted. We have a lot of work to do to move Arizona forward, and we are filled with opportunities to do that. But it all starts with our children. It all starts with making sure that all of our children have the tools to succeed, and we need to stop the cuts to our education system in order to provide that kind of future. So my vision is an Arizona where test scores are going up, where class sizes are coming down, where our teachers are paid a livable wage so they stay in the classroom and give our students the kind of skills that they need to succeed, where we transform our education system in a way that provides the skilled workforce for the future. When we do that, new businesses will come, new technologies will come. They are hungry for an educated workforce for the future, and that's the kind of Arizona that we want. It means jobs, it means opportunities, and it means a new day for Arizona. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.